One of the simplest yet most effective ways of making sure you're making steady progress in your own situation is taking a look at where you were last year compared to this year. So pick a date, January 1st, March 1st, whatever it might be, pick a date and look at your situation over the last 12 months to see how things have changed. So a couple things to look for, the biggest being the bank accounts. So if your bank accounts last year, we're using Nick here as an example, were $15,000 in checking, $20,000 in the money market, and now this year Nick has $25,000 in checking and $30,000 in the money market. That means that his accounts have gone up about $20,000 over the last 12 months. So what that most likely means is that Nick has more money coming in than he actually needs for his basic living expenses, and so money is building up in the bank. And what happens with a lot of people, either A, money builds up in the bank and then we see it and we spend it just because it's there, or B, money builds up in the bank and now it's not earning what it could be, especially if we don't need to be using the money for further down the road. So what you can do is when you look at your bank accounts year over year, so usually over a 12-month period of time, you could see what's building up. So for Nick, that $20,000 or so, he could say, hey, maybe I need money to redo my roof, or maybe I'm going to need a new car. So I'm doing that intentionally. I'm building up that money intentionally. But like I said, many times that's not the case. So if Nick looked at this, he could say, okay, I have $20,000 extra. Let me grab it out of here because I really don't need it there. And let me add it over to my TOD account here, my non-retirement investment account. So now I'm building that up. That has a much higher chance of growth compared to my shorter term assets here in the bank. And now that is money that can be working for me, growing for me, and still accessible and flexible for the longer term. I also now maybe know 20,000 divided by 12 months, I could probably save an extra $1,500 to $2,000 a month that I didn't realize. Maybe let me automate that and I can increase the amount that I'm putting into my IRA, increase the amount that I'm putting into my 401k at work, or even a Roth IRA that grows tax-free. So just by looking at your bank accounts every 12 months, you can really get a good feel of where am I living? Am I having extra money that's building up? Am I maybe living above my means? If I see my bank accounts continue to go down year over year, that's a problem. Maybe I need to make some adjustments. But just this one simple step of looking at it every 12 months can be super helpful. The other part of it is if you look at how your investment accounts are situated, once per year, just say, does this still make sense? Maybe Nick had his account here that's moderately conservative because he thought he might be buying a house. But now he thinks he's comfortable renting. He doesn't really want that responsibility. Maybe moderately conservative isn't appropriate for him anymore. Maybe this money now that he thought he might need in 2 or 3 years, he's really not going to need for 10 years. So taking a look at his situation once per year, he could say, hey, maybe I need to change this to moderate or moderately aggressive. Hey, I didn't realize my Roth IRA, which is going to be the last bucket I use in retirement, maybe this can be bumped up to moderately aggressive because that has the longest time horizon. So just by taking 20, 30 minutes to say, okay, where was I last year? Where am I this year? It can give you a great idea on your cash flow. It can make sure you keep your investments on track, and you can just make sure that everything that you can afford and are comfortable saving keeps pushing you forward. And this can add up to tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on what it is for you personally, but it can make huge impacts over time. If it helps you save an extra $10,000, every couple years, that's money that's going to keep adding up. And over a 20, 30-year span, it could reach 6 digits or more. So make sure you're paying attention, at least check in with your own situation once per year, and make sure that you're not letting any opportunities slip through the cracks.